Here are some books that I have read so far this year that I never see on Instagram or booktok or booktube that I think you should definitely read. So we're gonna start with The End We Start From by Megan Hunter. This is also a film. I quite literally got paid to watch this film and read this book. It was so good. I'm not saying that because they paid me, because they ain't paid me for this. It was so good. Interesting, short, and I think when a book is strange and unique the way it is, it needs to be in that structure. I prefer the book to the film. So, Wild Houses by Colin Barrett. I was sent the art for this. I expected to hate this because I have a really complicated relationship with like drugs. Like, that sounds like I was a drug addict. I've never done a drug in my life, not once ever, and I'm allergic to alcohol. Literally the worst thing I do is smoke. So, and I don't even mean weed, I mean an actual cigarette. So it's not to do with me, it's a completely different kind of complication. So I thought I would hate this because that is a large part of the premise. However, it was very interesting. I really enjoyed it. I think it was so well written, and it was the first book I've read by this person, so I was like, and it's all like it's very masculine, like it's by a man, it's about men, and it's such a masculine book, and I thought, I'm gonna fucking hate this, but actually it was pretty good. So I definitely recommend that. Oh, okay, Not the End of the World by Hannah Ritchie. So this is a non-fiction book about climate change and about how, yes, it's shit, but also we often get told all the worst news, and so she was kind of bringing in the balance of the good news. So like, we're in like a really good place compared to blah blah blah, and like she's like does all the facts, she's a professional, etc. So it was really like, as someone who hates when people like fucking make you feel like it is the end of the world and like doom, well, there's a word for it I'm thinking of, but I can't, it's in my head that I can't remember it. But they essentially just want to scare you. So I hate when people fucking do that in any context. I hate it. So reading this was like a breath of fresh air, and I also just think it was a great way to talk about the subject in a realistic way, because it isn't just rainbows and sunshines, but it's also not doom and gloom. And she gives advice, and she tells you like how you can do your part, and I think it was really good. Again, I think that was an arc. Yeah, it was an arc. The Cabin Porn series by Zach Klein. It's literally just picture books of cabins, and I love cabins, so guess welcome. Oh, okay, so I got messaged by the author / representation for the author on Instagram, and I'm not trying to be rude, but the Instagram was so not good, and they were like, oh, do you want to read our book, like here's information about it, and I was like, judging everything based off that is Instagram like a fucking dickhead that I am, and I was like, ooh. But the book sounded interesting, so I was like, sure, why not? It's by Aidan Gabor, and it's actually a 5 out of 5. It was so good. It's actually, I believe, non-fiction. I think it's like a biography, and it was really good. I think I gave it a 5 because I was like, whoa, this is not what I expected it to be. It's written well, it's such an interesting story. I don't think everyone would love it at all, but I really enjoyed it, so for me that was a fun one. I was like, yay. There was this romance by Charlie Cotner called Fighting Fate, which I got the arc for, and oh, What a lovely little book that was. So cute, so sad, so cute. I just fucking loved it. I loved it so much. I feel like I'm gonna get slapped if I even mention Sarah Adams as underrated, but just a little, I love that bitch. Next of Kin by Helen Bonham Young. This made me want to rip my hair out. It was so good, but it was a 4.5 out of 5 because, spoilers ahead, she like makes them get married in like 3 months of knowing each other. I fucking hate that trope so much. It's so fucking stupid. And he was also kind of a bully at the beginning, and I also hate that trope, but the rest of it was so good. And I think people do speak about these books a little bit because I believe, yeah, it was an arc. So I do believe that people speak about her in her books, but I think this has just not been spoken about too much yet because I don't know if it's out yet, but I probably is. Sometimes You Just Need a Pep Talk by Jamie Brockhurst. Again, I was sent the arc for this. It was just what I needed. It was just like a little pick-me-up, and I think that's also how it's intended to be read. Like, it's intended to be read by, you feel something, you need something, you look at the index and you're like, okay, this is what I need, let me go to that page, and it's like a little pep talk about that emotion and what you're going through, and I just love that. Oh, The Heart of a Dog by Mikhail Bulgakov. Okay, here's the thing. I actually read this because I saw it on Instagram, but I saved it and bought it because I was like, I've never seen this anywhere. Not one other person has posted about this. So I got it and it was 5 out of 5. So good. I'm really tempted to read more Mikhail Bulgakov because I'm starting to see more people read his stuff, and I'm just like, ugh, I really want it. Stillborn by Guadalupe Nettle. Now this is quite, like, I don't know how to describe it. I wouldn't say a big book, but it's known, but I still don't see it spoken about anywhere, and it's such a heartbreaking story about like fertility and pregnancy and motherhood, and it just really hit home. And it was 5 out of 5 for me. It was just fucking beautiful, the way it was written as well. Scrumdiddlyumptious. Oh, Secret Voices, A Year of Women's Diaries. I got gifted this by the author and publisher, and it is if you've ever seen it, it's the biggest fucking book in the, like, literally a doorstopper kind of book, right? But the concept of it is so beautiful. It's like a year, each year, every day of 1 year, so 365 days of diary entries on each day by several different famous women, from literally like Mary Shelley to the Queen to Emma Thompson. Like, it's literally like, it spans hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. It's so interesting, and I feel like people need to read this book before fucking even opening their mouths on female rage, because this, even though it's non-fiction, is the reality of female rage. I loved it. It was a 5 out of 5, 100%. Unspeakable Shaking Pleasures by Lucy Debussy. Y'all, this book was gross. It was gross, but it was also female gore. I love it. When female gore is done right, if you're people kind of like with film class, like movies like Pearl, which I haven't even seen yet because I'm not a horror fan really. It's like female rage, which it kind of is, and I haven't watched it fully, so I can't say yes or no definitively, but the subgenre is female gore, bitch. I look high because my eyebrows are now yellow. But it's female gore, and this was female gore. It's literally just an entire book of smut, and that's a bit of me. But also there were some stories where it's like, this is fucking disgusting, this is questionable as shit, jail time. But it was written so well that you're like, maybe I need to go to jail. But it was so good. I never see anyone speaking about it, and yeah, Yadira, I think that's her name, from Orion Books, sent that to me because she thought I'd enjoy it. Don't know what that says about me, but it says something. I spoke about this in my last video, Before and After by Andrew Shanahan. I worked with him. It's not really the kind of book that I usually read, but it's essentially an end of the world kind of book. But it's not even dystopian in the way that it sounds. It's from such an interesting perspective, and the more you know about the actual author, the more interesting it is. It's basically about, like, Andrew Shanahan was known for losing so much weight, and so he wrote a book about that blew up. So he started to write fiction because he loved fiction, and they're all basically from the perspective of someone who weighs as much as he used to weigh. So it's about the end of a world as a quote-unquote fat man, and it's so interesting. It's just such an interesting perspective, because I love that no one has ever done that before. I think it's so hard to find unique books these days. It's so hard to do anything unique these days. Everything's been fucking done with the internet's existence. This, yes, I liked it a lot. I think I'm gonna end this one on Penance of the Byronic Hero. I'm gonna do a little shout out to my bestie Paula McKenna. She wrote this poetry book. I am such a fucking poetry hater, I'm so sorry. I think I used to love it. I used to write it. I think I still have, like, because how do I validate this? My first proper boyfriend in secondary school used to write me poems, and I used to write him poems too. It was like our thing, and I think I have them somewhere, but it's not the poems that I kept, it's like the books that I kept, because I think I wrote in them for loads of other things, like book plots, ideas. And before you say, why are you saving ideas from when you were like 14, the book I'm releasing now, I'm 22 next month, yeah? I wrote it when I was 16. It's still that good. Younger me was like pre-PTSD. She knew what she was fucking talking about. So I'm gonna let her still have her spotlight. That's why I saved that shit, because I had such a big brain. And I don't anymore. Oh, no, it's because I was always alone as a kid. From certain ages. I didn't really have friends. I had online friends and that was about it. But that opened a gateway until I was 16 to all these ideas and so much free time that I would literally sit in my form room and write books in a notebook. I would write word for word a book in a notebook. It was pre-laptop days for me, okay? 16 is when I got my first laptop. Which is scary and shocking considering I had a phone from the age of 11. But anyway, so that's why I kept them, okay? But I'm like a poetry hater. And I think it's because Rupi Kaur like fully ruined them for me. I used to like read her shit and be like, oh my god, this is so deep. And then I grew up and read it and I was like, and then you see like fucking people like Gabby Hanna like posting fucking the craziest fucking books and like poems, and it's just like, I hate this so much. I also have such a disdain for spoken word. I cannot stand it. Something about it really gets something angry in me. So I was like, when Paula, she did like a whole book tour, and I was like, yeah, give it to me, even though it was poetry, because I was like, I'm gonna support my bestie. And she sent it to me and I was like, this is good. I'm afraid this is rather good. So I actually gave it 5 out of 5. It was so good. I just love Paula's writing. I think that's the fucking key here, is like, Paula writes for Coffee Corner. If you're new here and you don't know, Coffee Corner is my bi-weekly free email newsletter subscription, and I have like 8 other writers with me who like submit pieces, and Paula's one of them, and I've always loved her writing. It was why I asked her to be part of it in the first place. So 100% go read that. Go read all these books mentioned. If you don't, fuck you, JK. Anyways, I love you guys. I will speak to you later. See you in the next video. I love you. Said that already. Bye.